Tell me about your background and your role at Tacoma Public Utilities.
Well, I've been in the industry for a little over 20 years. I spent a good bulk of my career working for a large investor-owned utility. Spent a few years as a practice lead, covering architecture and smart grid implementation strategies, focusing primarily on municipal utilities and cooperatives. My role at Tacoma Public Utilities provides three main functions. One is to perform technology strategy and planning for the collective utility. The other one is to assist in leadership of our operational technology services group. And the other one is to develop and maintain our technology strategic plan.
What's the key for developing an effective technology strategy for today's digital customers?
Any technology plan for utility should incorporate two aspects, an internal view and an external view. I think the external view is probably most important. The plan should be able to identify what enabling technologies the utility has to invest in to achieve desired outcomes and objectives for the customers. How you define those objectives really should depend on targeted market research, looking at customer segmentation and drawing out the products and services that the specific customers are looking for. That can be used to drive an internal plan that identifies those enabling capabilities that a technology organization needs to offer. At the very minimum, those four areas that a plan should probably focus on initially, the core foundational technology modernization and optimization, given that digital services will need to rely on robust technology infrastructure. A second viewpoint is to look at the continued convergence of operational and information technology and the cybersecurity posture that comes with that convergence. A third area I look at is more of a capability or a discipline, if you will, for a technology organization that's going more digital. And that's investing in not only technology, but also know-how in systems integration and data analytics. A digitally connected utility needs to not only share information amongst its systems, but also should be leveraging the value of data to generate insight.
What are the key initiatives or strategies that we need to do to effectively go from a passive relationship to one of more active engagement with our customers?
The passive engagement, I think that's exemplified by a bill insert, right? If you're looking to just notify customers of a planned event, that's a very passive engagement. Those type of engagements that are also characterized as being passive are those that occur on two occasions, usually some kind of billing inquiry or a customer outage notification event. An active engagement reflects the growing adoption of two-way communications on various channels. Not every engagement needs to be active.
The various ways and channels in which you interact with your customers are multiplying, and that's requiring a lot of change. How are you prioritizing your resources in the different projects?
The criteria needs to balance customer value with customer engagement scores and also operational efficiencies that are gained by the utility. So projects that have a high score on customer engagement and a high score on utility business process efficiency should be given a higher priority in the portfolio. And I think as we look at these type of measures, a portfolio that has a higher value for customer engagement are the kinds of portfolios that will drive investment. It's one thing to be able to be in a position to offer customers the information they want, but not having the discipline and, like I mentioned, in integration and data analytics is going to be hard to surface that data to the customers, not only when they need it, but in the form that they need it also.
Can you speak to the convergence of information technology and operations technology?
Well, in the past, the differences between IT and OT really locked into different organizational silos that the utilities would have. For the most part, IT was focused on enterprise systems that are primarily back office or kind of batch oriented, and the real-time operation of those systems like SCADA and energy management were given to the engineers. Given that modern control systems look like IT systems these days, they're no longer just electromechanical devices that only engineers can understand. They have an application, they have a server, and in most cases, they're on an operating system that now has to apply security controls where they were never part of in the past. So not only is the technology converging on common platforms, part of that convergence has to recognize that the disciplines in IT management now have to extend to OT management where they never really had in the past. One of the biggest challenges in the convergence is that the impact of security, compliance, and enforcement is really two different modes within an IT system versus an OT system. The impact of security vulnerabilities on a billing system versus a control system are really night and day. That convergence now is helping utilities shift from a posture of prevention to one of detection, isolation, and recovery, given the critical nature of these systems.
How do these changes impact how you think about employee skills and training and selection and education?
To reflect on the changing workforce as a whole, by and large, the number of people leaving the technology workforce is a problem. It's a lot of knowledge that's walking out the door. The utility worker of the future is probably a little more connected, given their use of tools and social media platforms, for example. But I think what's happening is when you look at digital that applies to internal operation in terms of how work is created, managed, dispatched, and reported on, moving that to a platform based on data is reflected on an organization that is able to make more data-driven decision-making in operations. And so once you can consider that a lot of the knowledge and experience is kind of walking out the door, so operations based on intuition versus that based on data is an opportunity to now look at how we provide tools to the workforce to enable their operation, given that the worker of the future will have expectations on connectivity that they've grown up with outside of their workplace.